second trilogy. This trilogy is the story of the prodigal son from Luke. It's a parable that Jesus told. For those of you who don't know it or don't remember it, basically it's about a father who has two sons. And at some point, the younger of the two comes to the father and asks for his inheritance, which the father gives him. And the son proceeds off from the sheep herding area that they live in to a city. And he proceeds to squander this money. And hard times come to the city on top of that. And he ends up feeding pigs for some farmer on the outskirts of town. And at a certain point, he's thinking to himself, my gosh, the servants in my father's house are eating better than I am. I'm going to go back to my father, and I am going to let him know that I have been a wastrel and that I'm very undeserving. And I will ask if he will allow me to live in the servants' quarters as a servant in his household. And with this thought in mind, he went back to his father's. And at a distance his father saw his son approaching and ran down the hill to greet his son, threw his arms around him, wrapped him up in a beautiful robe, got him sandals. His feet were unshod at the point that he came home, put a ring on his finger, and he ordered up that the fattest of the fattest calves be slaughtered, singing be done, and much rejoicing took place. Now, watching all this was the elder of the two sons, and he was very, very upset. And at a certain point, he cornered his father, and he said to him, Dad, I don't get it. This younger son, your son, went off and wasted all this money that you gave him, and he comes back and you shower all these things on him. And I, who've been the dutiful son out shepherding your sheep for all these years, you haven't even cut up a goat for me and my friends. I don't understand this. And his father looked at him and he said, son, you're going to get everything I have. I love you, but I love him too. On one level, this can be considered a story of God's love for those of us who stray far. I've chosen to try and look at this song from the perspective of the three principal people in the story. And the first song in the trilogy is the son who stayed behind. The second one is this one, the prodigal son. And the third one is the father's song from his perspective. So this then is the middle one, the prodigal son. My father called me to him, not in anger, not to blame. He wanted to learn from his prodigal son what I'd learned from where I had strayed. I had to think to find my truth. I stood with lowered head as I went over in my mind the sordid life I had led. I knew how to lose at dice, to throw good money after bad, to be taken in by other folks and not know that I'd been had. I'd learned that money buys you friends and need drives most away, that to know someone you must take heed of more than what they say. I knew women are very much like men, no better and no worse. Neither painted faces nor well-scrubbed cheeks indicate their worth. I'd learned about desire, the world just out of reach, restless longings and at times success whose joys proved brief. As I stood before my father, all these thoughts went through my mind. I raised my head but could not speak, unsure exactly why. And when at length I found my voice, it trembled in the air. Father, I've come to treasure in life those precious few who care. My father stood up from his chair, and he gripped me in a hug. I felt a tear run down my cheek, unsure of whose it was. I could smell the roasted calf, and I could hear the song, and I could feel how blessed I was to be my father's son.